大家好. Today I'd like to talk about poisonous, toxic plants, focusing on a few that grow in England. I know that wherever you are in the world, you'll have different plants, toxic plants, but the principle remains the same, and that is to know your plants, because knowledge is key. There's a garden in the north of England, and it's part of Hemlock Castle, which is an amazing garden, and they've called it the Poison Garden, and they display about, I think, 100 really toxic, poisonous plants. And I'd love to go there sometime. I think it'd be exciting. You have to be shown around it carefully. Obviously, you can't touch anything. Apparently, sometimes people even faint from the intoxicating fumes of some of them. But I think it's educational, and as I say, knowledge. Know your plants. Knowledge is key. Okay, so my collection isn't going to be nearly as exotic as the wonderful collection at Hemlock Castle. And the first up is stinging nettle. Its Latin name, which I'm afraid I can't pronounce, comes from the Latin uro, which means burn, and that's the sensation you get when you touch it. It feels like you've been burnt. I haven't got any in my garden, so Guo Yi and I are going to go look for some. And I'm still looking for the stinging nettles. It might be that the park keepers have cleared some away, and Guo Yi and I are not going to go in the wild area today because I think it's going to rain, but I think I'll find some anyway. And here, I think, yep, I've just found a clump down here. Here it is. There's lots of things around it, so it's hard to see. And if you look more closely, I don't know, it's on the stem that the sting is. It's more like the skin, it's an irritation, it's tiny hairs that cause skin irritation, and it feels more like a burn. And I was thinking, humans and animals and birds can all run or fly away from predators, but of course plants can't, so maybe that's why they develop a protection, especially when they're vulnerable. And that makes sense with stinging nettle, because the sting is actually much stronger and worse when it's young, like this one here. So I wouldn't have that in my garden. I spent too much of my childhood falling into great clumps of it and stinging. But some people do, because it's a sign that the ground is rich in nitrogen, and the nettle itself, lots of beneficial insects like it, and also it has a very high content of vitamins. So people, for example, if they pick it carefully wearing gloves and then they cook it, you can make nettle soup. So that's one.
Okay, go.
And the next plant we're going to look at is Digitalis, probably better known as foxgloves. And I do have some in my garden. So I've got a big clump here, and they're not quite ready, their flowers aren't ready, but you can see the development of them here. Really, I should have thinned these out and replanted them in autumn, but I didn't have time. So here, and they're going to come to beautiful spires about this high, and they're wonderful plants. I work sometimes in my doctor's practice garden with another gardener, and here's a photo of a border that we planted with Digitalis, and I think you can see how lovely it looks. But Digitalis is a very toxic plant. All parts of it are toxic, and actually, if you consumed it, it would cause paralysis. But having said that, as long as you know that and you wear gloves, I think if there were children around, I would probably plant swathes or a clump at the back somewhere, or under roses, like very thorny roses, or I just tell them, because children are pretty clever and know what they're doing. But so that aside, if you know that, it's a wonderful plant to have. It's a biannual, it's really good in semi-shade. The bees absolutely love it, and they go into the trumpet flower to collect pollen, and sometimes I watch them and I think, what are they doing? They've been in there a long time, and I think maybe they're having a sleepy little rest. And then the other thing Digitalis is very important for is in the pharmaceutical industry, it's hugely important. It's used, a chemical is extracted from it, and it's used in medicines all over the world to treat heart failure and respiratory disorders. So, a wonderful plant. Just know that it's poisonous. If you were to touch it, or you'd have to consume it, I think. And I was trying to find out why it's called foxglove, and what I found was that it comes from an old English folk myth or folklore, which was that people believed that foxes would put the hooded flowers on their feet, on their paws, and so they could be silent when they were hunting their prey. But there is one plant that's actually, I think, as beautiful as Digitalis, but that I wouldn't have in my garden, and that's called aconitum. It's also known as monkshood, devil's helmet, wolfsbane, queen of poison, so you kind of get the feeling. And this plant is really, really toxic. I mean, if that was even a small amount consumed, or if you maybe got part of it, because all part of the plant is poisonous, if you had an open wound or something, you know, you could die within a few hours, apparently, from paralysis. So, but many gardeners do have it, because they know what they're doing. They wouldn't have maybe children, they put it at the back of a border, and it is beautiful. So let's go and see if I can find some in the garden centre. And I'd also like to look for a plant called Euphoria, which, like the stinging nettle, is more of a skin irritant, causes skin irritation. It's not something deadly, but it is a garden plant that I use quite a lot. I'm in my local garden centre now, and I'm looking for two of the plants, Euphorbia and Aconitum. I don't think I'll find the Aconitum because it really is very, very toxic and poisonous, and not many places stock it. So here I'm going into the back now, see whether they've got it. Most likely in this section here. I'm going to walk along, have a look. Oh, and here they have a lot of Digitalis. So I'm just going to walk along here and see. This is mostly, this is herbaceous, but as I say, I doubt they'll have it. Can't see it so far. Aha! No, this is Delphinium, which they do have. You can see the little purple spires already coming. Let me get the name of that for you. There we are. That's a Delphinium. Very beautiful. This is actually, it's not, I don't know how toxic it is, but you wouldn't want to eat it or anything, but it's not like Aconitum. And really, if it was me, I would use, if I needed blue, I would use this, or a lovely, you can get Bell Campanulas, which are in purple and blue, beautiful flowers, but I definitely wouldn't use Aconitum, especially if I thought children were coming round. But a lot of very good gardeners would, because they know how to handle it. Always wear gloves, don't touch it really. There. Yeah, but I can see already, that's not here. Let me see if I can find the Euphorbia. I was just walking home, disappointed there wasn't a Euphorbia at the garden centre, and I saw this one. This is Euphorbia mellifera. If you look closely at the stem there, in there, if you cut that, this would have a white, sappy kind of milky substance inside, which is quite toxic. It's really a skin irritant, so it would hurt your skin. You'd have a rash. If it was in sunlight, you might even get blisters. And obviously, people have different kinds of allergy tolerance. But I'd still always use it. It's really useful, especially in the back of a border, or here it's being used for the entrance to somewhere. You can see the gate there. And so I just say to people, you know, my clients and my friends, just wear gloves. Don't let it get onto your skin, and it's absolutely fine. Oh, that's really good. I'm just walking home now, and I've just seen in this lovely little front garden, Euphorbia wolfenii. Can you see it? It's at the very back there. I'm trying to get a bit closer. I don't want to go in. There. And again, it's the same principle. It's such a useful plant because it really doesn't mind being in somewhere that's quite sunny, and it doesn't need much water. It's a very useful plant, and it looks beautiful, I think, in spring. Look with the bulbs, like that. And actually it goes on flowering for ages. So again, it's just a skin irritant, but with the sap. Just keep it away from your skin.
Go. Slowly.
So I'm back, and I'm just going to have a quick cup of tea, and then Guo Yi and I are going to try and find the final plant, Hemlock. Hemlock's really not a garden plant at all. It's more of a countryside plant, found in damp areas, maybe by streams or in woods. And it's the largest of the umbella family. So it has almost like parsley-like leaves and lovely little white flowers. And it's very closely related to cow parsley. Cow parsley is really gorgeous, and we associate very much with the English countryside, country lanes, hedgerows, springtime. It's beautiful. But one, hemlock, is deadly poisonous, and it's really important to know the difference between the two. And that lies in the stem of the plant. Hemlock's always much bigger, and it's slightly rough looking really, but it's much taller. But if you look at the stem, cow parsley has kind of reddy purple grooved lines down it, whereas hemlock has red splodges. And here's a couple of photos just to show you. In ancient Greece, hemlock was actually used as a form of execution, and the philosopher Socrates, that's how he died. He drank a cup of hemlock tea. And in fact, apparently he described how the paralysis started from his feet going up. I mean, it takes a while, but it's total, and it's probably one of our most really toxic, deadly plants. So, Guo Yi, let's go and find it.
Okay.
So, Guo Yi and I are going to try and find it on the heath, but I don't think we will because it will be removed immediately. But we might find some cow parsley. Okay? Oh, okay, so here I found some cow parsley. You see it's just growing along the hedgerow. Along the hedge. Oh, Guo Yi's holding a piece for me. There. And you can see, I mean, I think it's very pretty and it reminds me of the kind of English countryside in May. But if you look really closely, the little flowers, very sweet. And I found another clump which I think shows more clearly the difference between cow parsley and hemlock. If you look closely, you can see the very definite striped lines of the cow parsley. And if that was hemlock, it would be red, purpley red spots, sort of splodges. And obviously, as I said, there isn't any on the heath, certainly in an area like this, which is more like a park, not such a wild area, because it is so dangerous. And the park keepers would just dig it up straight away. So let's know our plants. You know, some we can not be afraid of, some we can be a little bit afraid of, because nature's powerful, but so is knowledge. And anyway, thank you very much. I hope it was interesting. And next time, I'd like to take you, if I can, to my favourite garden centre in London. It's really inspirational, but it depends a bit on the weather, whether it rains. I thought I'd also look at the different types of compost, because quite a few people have asked me about that. But meantime, thank you very much. 谢谢 and 再见.